We are in the middle of a global crisis, and this is the time to ignore the hustle culture and the grind gang and basically anyone that makes you feel inadequate or guilty for not having 50 million jobs right now and doing 1,000,001 things instead of looking after yourself and making sure that you get the skills and, importantly, the rest that you need to get through this crisis and come out better on the other side. Most of us are facing really difficult circumstances right now, and I think it's really important to cut through the noise of, oh my god, this is all of the productive stuff that you can be doing at home right now, to really push a message of looking after yourself, devising a strategy that you can actually execute on, and trying to visualize and create a life for yourself way beyond this crisis that you'll be very proud and happy to have in a few months, because hopefully this crazy crisis is not going to last more than that. So let's dive right into today's video, where I'm going to talk about how I have been ignoring all of the noise from the media, the press, work, basically anyone that's affecting my mental health, because that's the most important thing right now, to really recalibrate and figure out my next steps and literally do the things that are the best for me. So let's dive right into it. So welcome back to my channel if you're an existing subscriber, and if you're new here, my name is Dels. Welcome. I'm a lawyer, founder, and entrepreneur who basically loves to talk about travel and leveling up in your life and career, and my channel is dedicated to this topic. So welcome. And guys, I have to apologize because I haven't been online for about a week or so, because I was basically practicing what I preach, and I have been recalibrating. I actually moved back to London so that I could spend some more time or be closer to my family in these crazy times, because you know, when the world is basically going to SHIT, we really have to think about what's important. And for me right now, what's the most important is being closer to my friends who've known me the most. Like, my best friends are in Dubai, and you guys know this already, but I also have some fantastic friends in London. My family, my clients, a lot of my clients are here because they were basically navigating the process of moving abroad, and also I have clients in the US. So actually moving back to London was easier because I was able to manage those two different time zones, and I just didn't want to have to think about going on social media or anything like that, because I think a week before this whole drama hit the fan, I was actually on vacation in London, so about 3 weeks ago, and I did a massive webinar where I was sharing tips for people on how to find work abroad and how to design the life and career that they want abroad. I'm going to link that below. So I'd done a whole ton of work, and London was meant to be a holiday that basically turned into me finding a place to live as an emergency and moving 7 years of my life back to London in 1 week. So I still have things in Dubai, like my car, my apartment is still there, but I'm going to figure that out remotely. I love living in Dubai, but I think in these crazy times, you really need to look after yourself and basically figure out what it is that you really want out of life. So in this video, like I mentioned, the topic is how to get through hustle culture and reduce the noise that's basically making you feel like inadequate for not doing certain things right now. Because I mean, we're all feeling panic, we're all feeling anxious, and we all are like, what is actually going on and what does this mean for my life? And I think that it's really important to face those questions head on, and I'm going to share some tips that will help you get through that and ignore anyone that makes you feel guilty for not being overly productive right now. If you can afford to take the time out, then do it. But I'm just gonna dive into some key things that you can do right now, if you haven't already done them, that will really help you go through this process and emerge hopefully on the other side saner and happier. So the first thing you need to do is look after your mental health. Your mental health is number one. I realized that I felt like I went from holiday mode to work mode for my webinar, and then I just felt like I fell off a cliff with all of this news, bad news everywhere, and things felt like it just escalated in 24 hours. I mean, I was planning on heading back to the hotel that I like to work in out of London, and I realized I didn't want to get on the tube because all I was hearing, I was in a group chat with my friends in London, and they were like, oh my god, someone coughed on the train. Someone screamed at them to get the F F off the train. And I'm like, wait, who wants to get on the train? And then I looked on the internet and I saw that I think Oman had cancelled their borders. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to be stuck in London? I'm not ready to be stuck in London. Then it forced me to realize, actually, where would you rather be stuck? London or Dubai? And are you even going to get stuck? So you can see there's all of these things going on. And I think that depending on your personality, it's so risky because you can end up falling into this dark hole and feeling so overwhelmed and thinking, what's going to happen to my job? And I know that a lot of us are dealing with this topic, especially my friends. As you guys know, right now I work for myself and I also have like a legal consultancy, so I consult with other companies from time to time. So thankfully, I made this change about a year ago. So I'm honestly not that affected employment-wise by the crisis, but I have been there. In 2009, it took me 18 months to get my first proper job after uni, and it was so So I have friends who are really dealing with this topic where they work in banks and they know that, oh my God, my job might be going. So if you don't look after your mental health and you don't really address that and you don't allow yourself to kind of calm down, it's easy to spiral into a panic and then you're going to come out even worse off than before this whole thing started. And I think that is a core thing. Look after your mental health. And one of the best ways I've found to help me is really to just like step away from the news, man. It's too much. Honestly, do these guys not have anything better to report on? Surely there has to be something good in the news that they can sprinkle in, you know, to make all of us feel better instead of making us feel worse. And I feel like every day the number of deaths is increasing and increasing. This is a fact. We shouldn't ignore this. But does anyone else feel like you're starting to get slightly desensitized? And this is awful, and it's a symptom of the modern age, right? We have so much information, we know so much. If you think about 10 years ago, if you heard that, you know, 200 people died in a place, you'd be like, oh my God, that's awful. And right now you feel the same, but it's almost like being normalized, but the grimness and that awful feeling is still there, you know? And I think, look, we all know that it's awful. We all know that we need to stay home and look after ourselves. Let's do that. Minimize the amount of times that you're checking on your phone, what's happening. I've turned off all notifications because I felt like it wasn't helping. But what I do is that every day I always watch the 9 p.m. news just to have a roundup and keep myself updated, you know, because that's so important. The next thing you should do to step away from hustle culture is don't let other people tell you what you should be doing right now, but instead ask yourself what it is that you want, you know? Like, this is the time to kind of ask, like, do you want to continue working? If that's the case, if your job is at risk, what do you need to do right now to make sure that you are financially secure? If you have financial security, okay, do you want to keep working and doing what you're doing? Is that what makes you happy? If you got offered the opportunity to be furloughed, I think that's the word, or made redundant, where they're going to pay you out, is this something that you are willing to do? And I think that is so important, you know. Take a time out to strategize and think like, okay, I've rested, which is number one. My mind is kind of right, great. And then now what do I want? How do I want to emerge out of this? Like, what do I want my next year to look like once this corona thing is done? Because a lot of us have not had the privilege of being able to work from home without a boss breathing down your neck. And this is the time to take advantage of it, but softly, you know? Like, be honest with yourself. And this is my third tip. Be honest with yourself. How much rest do you need? How much do you really need to like create a plan if you don't have one already? Because what happens is, if you don't know what you want, you have these grind gang or hustle culture people who generally mean well, giving you all of these ideas, and you're basically getting distracted by shiny object syndrome, which is normally kind of fun, right? You know, dipping and dabbing into different things. But when you're dipping and dabbing in a time of desperation or frustration, it feels awful because you're going to find that nothing is sticking. All of the side hustles, all of the drop shipping, all of that stuff that everyone keeps talking about on YouTube, like, these are all the hustles you need to do. That whole game has changed. So what is it that you want? Do you want to go into working remotely? Fantastic. If that's what it is, then you narrow your mind and just really focus on that, you know? But again, looking after yourself in a healthy way. That I can't speak enough about this, because even right now, as I'm filming this video, I have a raging headache, and I've had this headache now now for about a week, and that's why you guys haven't really seen me filming videos. But I know that it's not a illness headache, it's just overwhelmed because I have a lot in my head. But I felt like I've kind of been looking on Instagram and like dipping in, and honestly the lols and the memes have been fantastic and they've been helping to cheer me up. I'm happy, I'm not like sad or anything, but I just constantly feel overwhelmed. And I think that I'm in such a good place right now than where I was 10 years ago, and I feel privileged and blessed, and I can't even imagine what it's like for many people who feel overwhelmed right now and super stressed. Luckily, I have clients that I work with and I'm helping them navigate this process, and if you need help with that, any sort of guidance, check below and like we can see if we can work together. But beyond that, just taking a break and resting and strategizing and really finding hope in the middle of all of the stuff going on will really keep you going. So I can't speak enough about this. Like I always tell people, hustle, be productive, but you have to also be honest with yourself. Is this the right time for you to be doing that? Is this the right time for you to be sacrificing yourself in the middle of this crisis? You know, this is the time. A lot of us don't get this opportunity. Many people even dream of it, you know? So let's make the best of it by putting you as the focus. Your mental health is #1. But I just want to round this up by saying that being honest with yourself is going to allow you to really cut through any of the excuses that you're making, right? Are you actually not being productive right now because you just need a break and time out? Or are you just being lazy and you just can't be bothered to do anything? And now this crisis is giving you the perfect excuse. Look, let's be real with ourselves, right? And I think that is super important. If you feel like you need a break, do it. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for doing it. And if you're just slacking around, like if you don't have any work to do and there's something that you've always wanted to do but you are still slacking, then this is the time to actually probably listen to Grind Gang and listen to what they're telling you and try and figure out what it is that you want. But I hope this video has been helpful. How have you guys been dealing with the quarantine? I'm going to share like my experience on what it's like to move 7 years of my life in 1 week. But I do feel better being closer to family, and it is really weird right now, so I will talk about that. If any of you are living abroad, how are you finding it? And if you are, and how are we all finding this whole situation generally? Like, I'd love to talk about it. And if there's any topics that you guys want me to dive into, please comment below and I will make sure I create a video in due course. I'm back to filming now, so I took a week off and I was just like, I need this, but I'm back to filming. If there's any topics that you want, comment below. Work Abroad Wednesdays will be on pause for a bit for obvious reasons. This is not the time to be actively looking to move abroad. This is the time to be prepared to move abroad because this crisis is not going to last forever. But I will not encourage you to be doing like recce trips to explore different countries and the places that you want to work, because that's just not it right now. So anyway guys, thank you so much. I will be on Instagram. You can catch up with me on there, and yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.